What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Tezzie Baby, and I am here with Sabor, and we are here to talk about the first podcast episode called Cancel Culture. What's going on? Y'all want to introduce yourself? What's up?
My name is Noel.
And I'm Roberto.
What's going on? What made y'all want to start a podcast?
Oh, man. I think that we noticed that there was a huge gap between what we were seeing and the people that were involved in that community. You know, basically saying that people who were not involved in our community speaking on topic and issues that involved us. And Roberto and I thought it was very important to have a Black, gay, and Latinx voice to really discuss these issues. Like we need a seat at the table too. You guys are discussing us, but we don't have a seat at the table. It didn't make any sense.
Understandable.
A real random thing, and we just said, "Fuck it, let's do it."
What does social media mean to you guys? From branching into the podcast format.
What does social media means to me?
Yes. Now that the world is starting to depend on social media, how about that?
I think social media is important in essence, because of, like Roberto said in the podcast, it really is a place that you can join other communities. And if you are in if you are a minority, or if you are living somewhere and the demographic doesn't necessarily match you, you have social media to say like, hey, I'm just like you. I may not be in the same state as you. I may not be near you, but I am just like you, and I exist too. And I think that's very important nowadays, especially in the queer community, because I don't know if you've been realizing it, that there's been a huge surge of trans visibility, and I don't believe if it wasn't for social media we will have that. I think that's why it's really important, because before, if you had those same thoughts and feelings when it came to your transition, you didn't really have anybody to talk to. You didn't have anybody really reaching out to you. You probably felt alone. And now social media has these social groups, and social media has been really a platform to connect the world. And I truly believe that.
Okay.
Roberto, I just want to say that I'm really excited to see this sort of new wave of activism that's coming from social media. Yeah. Like I know that we briefly mentioned it on the episode as well about the K-pop stans organizing and coming together to ruin that Trump rally, and it's just sort of interesting to see how we're taking the tools that we have, which is social media, is just like basic access to apps, and really amplifying them to help everyone.
Okay, understandable. So in the podcast, I heard that you guys was talking about media influencers. What are you guys' idea of media influencers today? And do you think it's necessary?
I do believe that influencers are necessary. I just believe that what they influence should be more thought out, if that makes sense. Because that's all essentially what activists are, in a way, are a sort of influencer, you know? And I think that it's important to have people out there in the streets, in the protests, really spreading awareness when it comes to certain issues. But like I said in the podcast, that's not the majority. Like, you know, the majority is very superficial, very product driven, very lifestyle of the rich and famous. And I think that that's where social media kind of goes left.
True.
I think that influencers put a lot of work into gaining that platform. And I guess the unfortunate aspect of it is seeing sort of capitalism try to benefit the most from that. And that like, once you gain your platform, you know, big companies are kind of after you to sell things. And it kind of, it sort of poses a question of like, should I do this? Should I not? And sometimes the money is tempting. And like Noel said, I just wish that there was a little bit more thought and consideration for your audience that you work so hard to gain. Like, why would you peddle sort of not the best things to them?
Yeah, how are you selling essentially I'm not going to say the company name, but a tea that it supposedly have the effects of you losing weight and etc., but you're not promoting a healthy lifestyle. You're not promoting exercise. You're not promoting well-balanced meals. You're not promoting any of those things. You're just saying like, hey, this is Kim Kardashian. You go to a gym. You go to a surgeon. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not knocking plastic surgery or anything, but you can't go and get your butt done and your stomach done, and then go and promote flat tummy tea and saying that this is how I got my body, and that's not true. You full of shit.
Inaccurate information there.
Fact.
So, very factual there. Okay, so we in the middle of a pandemic. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
You guys, yeah, we're still in one, even though the world is just.
You sure? Because I don't think Florida knows. I don't think Georgia knows. I'm not sure if those. I don't know.
They just ready to do whatever they want to do. You know, some people is not cooperating. Some people are stuck in their ways.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because I even know back home, because T is from Ohio, just like me, they been wilding out there, right?
Whew. Yes. People be at the beach. I be like, are y'all serious?
Yeah.
Can we just stay home? So anyway, so we in the middle of a pandemic. Do you guys think when it came to the police brutality and the stuff that recently just happened, if we all was not distracted with our well-being of lives, jobs, careers, kids, or etc., would you guys think the police brutality of George Floyd would have been massive like it was because we all was sitting?
I think the only reason why the Black Lives Matter movement basically hit into overdrive is because of the pandemic. I believe that a lot of people were at home. A lot of people have access to the internet. Not everybody, but the majority. And the fact is, a lot of people were put out of work. So I think that majority of the protesters and the people that are behind these huge causes now is because it's right there in front of our faces. You know,
right.
It's if the George Floyd situation had happened pre-pandemic, I think that the media would have fluffed it up and covered it with what else is going on. Nicki Minaj is pregnant. You know, Beyonce's on her 5th child. You know, situations like that would have really distracted us. And since the concerts are closed, no shows are being filmed, nothing is being put out, all you have is the news continuously running 24 hours. And I really believe that the pandemic helped activism a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that it was kind of the perfect storm that just so happened all these pieces fell together, and that lack of distractions and, like I said earlier, lightning fast updates on all the social media. It's just like the whole world was watching what was happening in like almost real time. And it just seems to have brewed up this, like I said, perfect storm of people wanting to change.
Understandable. So who is you guys' favorite person that has got canceled in 2020?
Oh, that's wild. Who's my favorite person that got canceled?
In 2020.
Who
I don't know.
I wouldn't say
or should I say favorite story at the moment?
The one that bothered me the most was Leah Michelle, and I keep bringing this up because it's just, to me, it's such a big issue that she was allowed to behave this way for so long. And you know, she's not like the top of the pyramid even in the realm of Glee and Fox network. It doesn't make sense to me that like everyone above her allowed this kind of behavior, allowed all those microaggressions, allowed all those comments, and there was nobody there to stop her, to say something. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm kind of glad that you know, someone finally spoke up and said something.
Yeah, I agree. That whole comment with trying to defecate in someone's wig or someone's hair is, I think is a lot. For I wouldn't say this person is necessarily my favorite, but probably the most disappointing situation had to be for me, J.K. Rowling, when it comes to her views on trans issues, only because the Harry Potter universe was a big part of my life at a point in time. And anytime you put someone essentially on a pedestal, which you shouldn't do anyways, it kind of sucks when you see someone that's been so inspiring to you go left like that. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I was not expecting that. If you had told me that she even felt that way, I wouldn't have believed you 2-3 years ago, because she's always had this sense of rooting for the underdog. And I felt like that's what the Harry Potter story was about, rooting for the underdog. And now that you have essentially real underdogs that are fighting for their rights and fighting to be heard, and you're using your huge platform to try to silence them, that really bothers me a lot. So JK is the person I'm most disappointed in this year.
Okay. This year has
for
been
now.
So do you guys believe the cancel culture is overrated?
No, I don't think that cancel culture is overrated. Like we said in the podcast, I think it's very important for people to distinguish between canceling someone as a human being and saying, "Oh, you made one mistake and we getting rid of you," because that's what I think the opposing team is trying to suggest. They're trying to suggest that we want people to be perfect and we want everybody to live in a perfect world when there's no mistakes. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you made the mistake over and over again. We pointed out the mistake and you didn't fix it.
Right, so you can't be sorry.
Yeah, therefore you're not trying to fix it or learn from it. We got to get rid of your ass. We got to get you out of here, shorty. Like, we can't just be having you being here sexist and homophobic and transphobic, thinking you about profit off our community at the same time. Yeah, that's not happening.
I think the celebrity that had the baddest when it comes to the cancel culture was B. Simone. She got canceled like 4 to 5 times this year.
Yeah. For all valid reasons, though. Don't you think that
I feel like it was valid reason, because didn't she have something with the George Floyd situation? She did something. Yeah. The book she had copied somebody's material.
She didn't immediately use her platform to speak out against police brutality, which as a Black woman, I think that's disgusting. She also made extremely homophobic and transphobic comments on the podcast that she was on. She plagiarized the book and then tried to not take accountability for it. So there was a list.
I have a question with this book. So, okay, I don't know if you guys follow people on social media like Instagram. So she did the plagiarism with the book, and then she was flexing and like on Miami little yachts and stuff when she should have been speaking out. And then I had comment up under the Shade Room comment, because she turned her comments off after she was getting backlash. And it's like, instead of turning your comments off, you should have been reasoning with the situation, and the person that you really needed to talk to is the person you stole from.
Exactly. When B. Simone had a goal of earning $1 million in less than 30 days. That was her goals, and get her there. And I think that me and Roberto, as we said in the podcast, the Black community got you that $1 million. I want to be real clear about that, because the problem with a lot of Black people is that they get this level of success and then they run the other way. It's just like, okay, I got my money, I'm out, And George Floyd, that happened. Breonna Taylor, that happened. And you out in Miami doing whatever you're doing, and you're not using your platform to speak about the injustices that's happening in your community that you are a part of, because for some reason Black people think once you meet a certain salary, your melanin is just erased and no one sees you as Black anymore. But that's not the case. Like, you're still
gonna be Black.
Yes, you're still gonna be Black. I don't give a fuck about you not making the comment because of your Christian beliefs. You're still Black. You're still a Black woman. You're held to a completely different standard. And it really bothers me, because I know that her whole book was about manifestation. And she said that she wanted to create a pamphlet on how to complete your goals for young Black women. And yet you didn't want to come and speak out for Black men. That doesn't make any sense.
And the crazy part about that whole situation is, before the book was coming out, when she was promoting the book, she was saying she go days and night, like she spent all that time writing the book.
She said She says she can't date a 9-to-5 nigga because 9-to-5
that
niggas
too.
is not gonna understand her lifestyle when she's waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning working on her businesses, and one of your businesses was complete plagiarism. So, bitch, you wasn't waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing absolutely
You was
anything.
stealing, sis.
You was stealing off of Pinterest. You was stealing off of Pinterest. That's what you was doing.
Using people identity stuff. But other than that, like, she honestly, if she take responsibility, she need to learn, like, when it comes to politics, if you really don't know what you're talking about, it's just don't say nothing at all.
Let me ask you this, because me and Roberta were talking about that when it came to apologies in the podcast. How do you believe that she should have handled, or not even her, anyone when they come into a public backlash situation? What's the proper apology? Like, how do you fix that?
First of all, if you really apologize and you really sincere, you can't place blame on whatever. You got to own up to it. Because at the end of the day, you said whatever you said out your mouth.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't place blame like, oh, it was the edit, it was this. At the end of the day, you got to take ownership. That is what a real apology is, taking ownership and meaning what you say and going about it in the future.
Yeah.
So in the future, you're not making that same repeatedly mistake.
I agree.
What is your idea of her apology?
Did she apologize?
Boy.
Her apologies are like blaming others. Like, even with the book, she had made like a statement, little apology statement or whatever.
Her team messed up.
Her team messed up their team.
It wasn't her. And Roberto made a good point, because I brought this up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said that, well, I don't know if you want to say what you said, but you said that regardless, you knew that you didn't write that.
Yes. You the face of that brand, so your team is just the background.
Yes, I just like how we feel about the Jeffree Star apology video, just like how we feel about the Shane Dawson apology video. Mm-hmm. I put B Simone right in there. Now, I will say that supposedly she's trying to fix the situation. She's trying to sponsor a financial literacy course, and one of
I think that
course about trademarks and copyrights.
Yeah.
And she said, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. It's just like, I won't make the same mistake that you did, because I'm not about to be over here copying people's shit, profiting off of it, and then flossing my money on Instagram. So you can keep that classy.
I think that's where she messed up at. She do too much. Some people, like, they get money. It's okay to get money or whatever, tell people how you made it. But some things work for different people that might not work for others.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just hope she can get it together and learn how to.
Simone is in our prayers.
Yes. Sometimes you kind of not have to say certain stuff, or you have to watch and evaluate what you say. That's when it comes to podcasts, you can say something and it can be taken out of a whole nother context. So, like, you have to really iterate what you mean. So you can't say something without a reasoning behind it.
No, I agree. I think that if I'm going to be on a platform and being recorded, everything that I say, I need to stand by. Now, if you fuck up, you fuck up. There's been plenty of times that I've said things. I mean, even now, I still trip up between even simple things as the Latinx and Latino terms and Hispanic versus the Latino. Like, I'm still learning.
Right.
When it comes to
and that's okay. That's deeply okay. So who else do you guys think that had a cancel culture experience that you was shocked to hear?
I mean, we already talked about Shane Dawson, but his was like the most, like, I feel like it was like really bad.
The Willow Smith one, is that with the Willow Smith?
Yeah, and then those other comments on his old podcast or something that were like about pedophilia, and
he was just making sexually comments about Rebecca Black, who was 15 at the time, and then he made a racially charged joke about Trayvon Martin.
Yikes.
Yeah. So it was just kind of like a long time coming, and it's kind of crazy to think that nobody, like, it took so long for that to come out, or for people to care, and like because he's so popular, he was so big online, and so that was the most shocking to me, is to see that also the actual backlash where like people actually dropped him, like his videos were demonetized, like that doesn't usually happen. It usually just
Yeah.
passes, and everyone gets over it. But I
Mhm.
think that we've entered a new sort of headspace as a society, and that we're not okay with that anymore. Like people really need to be more take more ownership for what's happening.
Do oh, when it comes to cancel culture, it's been a huge thing, specifically in YouTube's beauty department. When it comes to that, do you think that beauty gurus, you being involved in Roberto's a makeup artist too, do you believe that it's going to be transitional, like beauty gurus are going to be held to a different amount of standards than they are
uh,
now?
I think that it used to, those sort of feuds and dramas used to drive views, and I think that people are kind of getting over it. So I'm hoping that that trend dies, and that they stop feuding and fighting and making up things about each other for views. Like, it just seems so childish, and that everyone's over it.
What?
Yeah.
Jeffrey recently had made his apology video, and in it he specifically apologized to James Charles. But I noticed that James Charles hasn't really put out anything or said anything about anything that's going on. Do you think that that's purposely?
Yeah, I think he knows better than to
Mm,
say. I think it like we just said a little earlier, sometimes you have to know when to not say anything.
yeah, damn.
I mean, just kind of just let it die. Like that, it's all he. Whatever happened already happened, and that was a long time ago. Now Jeffrey wants to apologize. Now, like that, it's too late. So why bring it up again?
Do you believe that Tati was being genuine when she said that she was cahooted and she was tricked into making
I
the
don't know.
cancel James Charles thing?
I really couldn't say. Only she knows, and her God.
And
Yeah.
right.
So I have a
Facts.
question, because I know the most biggest 2019 one was like the mute R. Kelly. He got canceled. And like, how do you guys feel? Like, he was a megastar. Like, could you guys separate Robert from R. Kelly, or it's just like get rid of his whole legacy in general?
I'm not here to tell you what to do. I think that that's kind of a really personal choice. For me, he wasn't exactly on all my playlists, kind of thing. So it's
Mhm.
very easy for me to just leave him behind. But I know for other people, it's more difficult. So I'm not. Yeah, I think that that's really personal. I think that what he did is terrible, and that you should really think about what he did, and how even still streaming the music, that is money to someone, and it goes into someone's pockets. So it's just sort of being conscious of what you're doing, and that there is a money trail from the things that you do and where the money goes. And it's just sort of being aware of it.
Which is
But
understandable.
I also think that it's important to realize how easily replaceable things are, and even reverting back to JK, it's I enjoyed all of the entire Harry Potter series. I enjoyed all of the books, etc. But me making a conscious effort to not put my money into a transfer person's pocket is more important to me. And I think that I really found it very strange that a lot of people just can't simply get rid of products, because the reality is, as good as R. Kelly was extremely talented. I
Yeah.
mean, in the Black community, that man, he's the voice. Very talented, great songwriter, made some great hits. Definitely is in our parents' playlist, but he's just an artist. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a
Which is
song.
true.
It's
So I
just a
have a
song. I don't have to
question.
listen to that song.
So I have another question about R. Kelly. So do you guys think See, he's alive now. If he was to ever pass away, everybody will forget what has transpired and be like, we still here for R. Kelly? Or do you think he will still be muted?
He still be mute. You are a child molester.
Yeah.
You kidnapped women and you held them there allegedly. Like it's too many stories. It was a whole docu series on Lifetime called Surviving R. Kelly. It's like,
I
come on
seen
now.
both of them, and
You
I'm
seen them both? I say I couldn't. I don't think I could have watched it. I think I seen it like a little bit and I had to get off. It
I was
was scary.
traumatized, but I needed to see it because I mean, you have to see certain stuff and put yourself in another viewpoint.
I mean, he made a song and one of the lines is "Age is nothing but a number." Like you have to, you gotta make a pause. Like maybe you know what you choose to do in your car, in your home, or whatever other private place is absolutely your choice.
Mm-hmm.
But to be in a public setting and promoting his music, knowing all of the allegations and knowing all of the proof that was provided, I think it's dumb to even go forth with it. It's just a song. You can't listen to a song.
Right.
It's just a song. Like, it's not that deep.
So
back to your question, I don't think that his passing would erase all that. I just think that like we've been saying this whole time, is like holding people accountable is it's difficult for everyone involved, really. And while a lot of us would love to say like, oh, I can separate the work from the artist, it's not that simple, and it's not that black and white. And like Noelle is saying, like we're all saying, is like it's not that difficult to not play those things. And as far as a legacy, it's just like what he did is part of his legacy. He made it that way. He did it. He did it himself.
Yeah, he ruined it.
So that's just how it is.
What about the Bill Cosby situation? Because he was canceled.
That hurt a lot, especially obviously in the Black community. The Cosbys were the epitome of a successful, beautiful marriage. Their kids went to HBCUs. You know, you had a doctor and a lawyer, and then you fast forward all of these years later, and then you have these allegations against Bill Cosby. I think that no matter how much you may love something, you have to understand that there's always a possibility that it might not be true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's when it's so many women that's coming out and saying like, hey, this person did this to me, you kind of have to you can't side out of that. You have to look it straight in the eye and be like, all right, you're canceled. It's just like, of course, Charm is one of my favorite televisions. I rewatch it all the time. Okay, shout out to Piper, Phoebe, Prue. If there were ever a situation when it comes to Aaron Spelling, if there was ever a situation, Holly Marie Combs, Shannon Doherty, I gotta cancel Charm. Am I going to be excited to cancel Charm? No. It's one of my favorite fucking TV shows. But guess what? If they're involving themselves in anything that has to do with something illegal or anything that has to do with sex trafficking, rape, etc., it's just like I can't do nothing with that.
What wasn't there a situation between Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano?
It was a situation
about the Me Too movement.
Yes, off the show though.
Yes.
Yeah, so Rose McGowan suggested that Alyssa's husband was involved in the Harvey Weinstein situation, and that Alyssa was aware of it, and that's why she doesn't believe Alyssa when it comes to her defending the Me Too movement. I don't know if any of that's true or not. I don't see why Rose would lie. She hasn't lied about anything else that she's been saying. She's been honest, but it's just like Alyssa said she didn't. She said she had absolutely no idea. So it's just I don't know. I don't know how that works when it comes to allegations and then being tried. Are we saying that if a person is even accused of a crime, then they're canceled until what? Until they prove that they didn't do it, or until it's proof that they did? How does that work?
Or is it like court? You guilty until you proven innocent?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because the reality is Bill Cosby was innocent until proven guilty, until obviously he was convicted and he went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like I'm really trying to navigate myself if something were to come out, hypothetically speaking, and something would had came out about I don't know, about Charm. Am I saying like, okay, well, this girl said that this person sexually harassed her, and Holly knew, Piper, Prue, all of them, they knew about it, so I'm canceling the show? Or I'm saying like, hey, let me take a step back and see what's going on before I make my decision. How do y'all feel like cancel culture should handle that? Because with Justin Bieber right now, he's being accused of rape,
Yep.
allegedly, and he's saying that that's not true, and he's suing those girls for $20 million. So it's just kind of like, is he canceled or is he not canceled?
I don't think right now he's not canceled until it's really a fact.
I mentioned it in the podcast episode. I think a lot of us are willing to wait to hear back from you to get a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we don't get that, or they don't come forward and say anything, or they just ignore it. So I don't know. Again, it's very personal, and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but it's more about being aware that of these allegations, and preparing yourself for the possibility that might all be true.
T, I do got an extra question. You being a woman in the entertainment industry, how do you believe the public should react to allegations when it comes to men? Do you feel as though that we should be like, okay, if a person is being alleged of something, should he automatically like lose his job, be on leave? Some people don't even like that when a person is put on paid administrative leave and stuff like that.
It just depends on the different circumstances. But if it's rape, sexual harassment, it need to be a big investigation, because I heard in the entertainment industry, that's what be going on, and they keep it quiet.
Yeah.
And in reality, it should not be quiet. We need to make this an awareness. We need to get these people out here that's doing this and lock them up. Honestly.
Yeah. Do you think, how can men make the workplace more comfortable? Because
how can men?
Yeah, because I keep hearing, I read somewhere that a guy made a comment saying that he was afraid to shake his female coworker's hand, and due to the fact that it might be taken out of context, etc. Something ridiculous. And I just want to be. I guess I never asked this question. It's just like, okay, how do you navigate that? Like, are you one of those people that if like your coworker or male coworker, hypothetically speaking, you see him, hello, and he hugs you? Is that a no? Is that a problem with guys not understanding personal space?
It just depends on the different person. I do not mind hugging, long as your hands stay at that hugging range. Do not go below.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably where they're saying hugging is a no, because some males go below instead of staying where they should be hugging you at.
Yeah, because I think that was part of the article. It's like no hugging is allowed, and no exchange of personal numbers. It's like a company phone that you have to use. I wish I remember the article I was reading.
I can see that where that's being a problem too.
Yeah, I was just curious.
I think that men are too focused on what they can and can't do. It's like they don't have the same mindset for other men.
Yeah.
They don't want to hug other men, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like,
true.
Very true. Why are you hugging her?
How can you say that it's not sexual? Or like, would they feel comfortable with me hugging them, or with me complimenting them, with me asking them out?
And they would not.
Exactly. And that's where I think that they're very selfish, and that it's very all about them, and how women are objects, I guess.
Does culture have influence in that too? Oh, sorry, I didn't know you can finish your point.
No, I'm just saying that if it was reversed, they would feel uncomfortable as well.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys feel with the different companies nowadays? A lot of CEOs stepping down due to the situation with the racism. Like, how do you all feel that company CEOs stepping down?
I think that sometimes that's nothing more than a gesture or a scapegoat,
Okay.
and that without actual reform, that it's kind of meaningless. Like, who stepped down, the CrossFit guy?
I don't
It
know.
was a lot of companies, like it's a numerous of companies. A lot of their CEOs stepped down from the top branch.
So what I've been reading and online is that that's usually a marketing tactic for companies to sort of make the problem go away, and they'll just quickly point a finger and say, look, he left, he's gone, so now everything's good. But
Mm-hmm.
actually nothing has been fixed, and there's always going to be that system of racism inside, where the people with power are not here for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of firing that guy, why aren't you training people better? Why aren't you having more of a diverse employees? Why aren't you looking out for your employees instead of firing one person?
True.
Especially when you're not, as I said before, involving people from the community that was offended into the training. It's just like you're saying that we're going to do some type of racial training,
Yeah.
and then no minorities are involved in the teaching. You
And
usually have a white
also,
man do it.
what's the point of the training if you don't have a diverse any
Staff.
diversity in your employees? Like,
Yeah.
so you're just training all,
Yeah,
like,
you're like, okay, y'all, this is how not to be racist. This is what we're going to do
yeah,
today. I don't want you to assume that this person doesn't live here, even though they have a key fob. I don't want you to see a black family in a pool and just assume that that black
yeah,
family have too many guests. It's like, come on now. Like, why is there even a training in the first place? It's just, you got to call racism what it is. You're racist. You shouldn't be our employee. Goodbye. Why is
yeah,
Exactly.
I look and there's only white people at my store? That doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
Which is understandable. So how do you guys feel? We're gonna stay political real quick. So with the racism coming about is very big. How do you guys feel? I know y'all talked about the Karens in y'all situation in y'all
Yeah.
episode.
I know. I want to
How do
really do
y'all
a
feel
racial
of
video
the
of that.
Karens, like the Karens being wild and out of control?
I, me as a black man, I found it very interesting, the term Karen, because Karens have been around for extremely long time. Like Karens were in our schools, Karens are in our inner schools. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people give white women a pass when it comes to racism, as though it's only the KKK was built of white men, and that's not the case. Who do you think was helping them in this situation? White woman. And it really makes me upset because I feel like, unfortunately, sometimes minorities have this urge to save white women when they're in situations, specifically
Mm-hmm.
speaking about this Amy Cooper situations, how she frankly called 911 and specifically mentioned that there was a black man in the park. And the reason I'm so annoyed by that is because the man that happened to basically said that everything that's happening to her right now is enough, and that he does not want to continue any criminal charges against her. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
why are we giving her a pass? But because she lost her job, she temporarily lost her dog. From what I read, that she got her custody back of her dog. I was just like, no, we need to nip this in the butt. What she did was wrong. What she did was should be illegal. That's why I like the fact that there's like the Amy Cooper law in New York. And I believe that we need to stop giving white women passes just because
True.
they're women in a sense. It's just because they're white women. We feel as though they're less intimidating. It's just like, no, they have power just as well as anyone else. There was a documentary I watched the other day called LA 92, and the judge that was dealing with the case of the young black girl who got shot by the Korean lady reversed the jury's decision and putting her to jail and just gave her probation.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you have situations like that, that's one of many. You have these racist people getting these positions of power and flexing their racism through legislation. And I think that that's a really, really big problem.
Right. True. So
I just, oh,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just find the Karens sort of fascinating to see them, this sort of trend happening where once you're told that you can't do something, it's sort of it's a new experience for them. They've obviously
Yes.
never been told that before,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just sort of interesting to see that trying to wrap their brains around it. And also, when you call someone out, it tends to feel like an attack, and I think that's what they feel. They feel attacked, but all we're doing is we're asking you to be better, and that's not a bad thing.
That's not at all.
I really believe that Karens have really, really, really huge racist egos. And like Roberto just said, they just don't like the word no. Have you seen the videos of these white women throwing things out of their grocery cart? Or you see, these white women purposely not allowing black people into their own homes. And what makes me so upset is that though these videos are going viral, it's kind of like people are still giving them a pass. One of the things that I hate the most is that when white people are doing something something that completely doesn't make sense, they want to talk about mental health. It's like, oh, it's mental health. We're going to,
or like,
clearly they have mental health issues. It's just like,
why are we laughing at the videos? Like they're not funny.
You need to go to jail. You need to go to like a rehab program. You need some type
especially
of counseling.
Cop callers, cop caller Karens.
Why is there just now being a law introduced about racially
false
charged
911s?
Yeah, 911 calls. It's just like 1 + 1 = 2. Why should Amy Cooper get a pass because she lost her job? It's like she was being racist. That was racist. She said there's a black man in the park. She literally acted frantic. She needs to be locked up, and it just it makes me very upset because
I hate the stigmatism.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Because if it was a black person doing some wild shit, we're just ghetto, uneducated, and all niggas. And as a white person, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you know what? She made a mistake. She put out an apology video. These were other factors that were involved in the reason why she did this, and it's just like, no, fuck that shit. Like, I'm tired of giving passes.
Like I said in the episode, it's important to note that wherever she worked, I don't know where she worked, but wherever she was, is like she still had this sort of racist mentality, whether it was conscious or subconscious. And so I said in the episode, is wherever that person is they're creating a system of oppression with them at the top of it. So whatever literal power she had, I don't know what her job was, but she, who knows what she was doing. And like I said, whether it's conscious or subconscious, this affects her decision making, and maybe she shouldn't be at that job.
Yeah, true. I agree.
I definitely agree with that one. So I know y'all talked about a little bit of Kylie Jenner with the makeup situation, and how do you guys feel when it comes to celebrities not giving, how can I put this? It's not ownership. What is it?
Credit.
Yes, giving credit to Black-owned businesses or whoever they got the idea from.
I think it reminds me of the crap in the bucket mentality, and it also it's about a conversation about privilege. Now, when we discussed the Kylie Jenner situation, she uploaded a photo in a bikini, and it was from a Black-owned business, but she did not tag that Black-owned business. Now, as I said in the podcast, Kylie Jenner was not obligated to post who she purchased the bikini from. She did not, because she purchased it. I can see if it was loaned to her $4 or something like that, then yes, you credit it, but she didn't have to do that. Why I feel as though she should have is because in the racial climate that we are in right now, it's very important to highlight Black-owned businesses. And I feel like a woman of her means and her success, it costs her absolutely nothing to tag the originator. And you see that a lot when it comes to white culture, essentially, of taking things from other minorities and essentially claiming it as theirs. One of the prime examples of that is the TikTok creator who made the Renegade dance, and yet they had the white Charlie TikTok star perform it on the Super Bowl. And it was a while before she even got credit for it in the first place. And this is a long string of white people stealing from minorities all the time. Yeah. Look at what is it? Trader Joe's removing Trader Jose and removing
Trader Jose, other labels.
It's like clearly you guys wanted to benefit from that minority consumer base, so we're valuable, but you're still you're still not understanding how you can't just bite off our culture and use it to profit off of us, and that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that people don't think it's a big deal, and on the surface it's not a big deal. It's just that when you look deeper, it's that people of color don't get the same amount of credit or praise when we do the same things. And it's just kind of ridiculous to see it taken, turned around, and then it's sort of the new hottest thing. And that's where the issue is that it's not the fact that she didn't credit someone, it's that you could have helped, it's that you could have benefited someone, but you chose not to.
You have a black daughter. It's like, come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
So what is you guys' idea of Black Twitter?
Black Twitter is where it's at. I think that Black Twitter sometimes be doing the most, like when it came to entanglements. But I believe essentially, I think that Black Twitter even started due to the fact that, as I said before, our voices are very, very dimmed, and we were just like, all right, well, you clearly don't want to give us the spotlight, so we do our own thing on the network, and then it just became this huge news station now. It's just like with the memes and the dances, and I love it. I'm loving seeing our
I love Black Twitter.
Rappers. Yeah, it's ours.
Yeah, like we said before, social media is about finding your community, and it's just nice that there's like that place exists, what the concept of it or whatever it may be, where there is so much interaction and likenesses, and I think that that's important that we all find those places.
And I also believe that Black Twitter is very inclusive when it comes to other minorities too. You know, obviously we're pro-Black because we are Black, but we don't, unlike a lot of racist white people, we don't block out our Latinx brothers and sisters. You know, we don't block out a lot of people. It's just like, oh, you know, we're all laughing, we're all joking, we all essentially kind of have similar backgrounds, and I wish that it was its own platform. Like, I wish that all of the Black creators off of TikTok believe TikTok. I wish that a lot of Black creators, you know, that are that came up with the concept of Black Twitter would have created
actual platform.
Yeah, because they're not profiting off of it. You know, essentially, Black Twitter is on Twitter.
I don't think that Black Twitter gets enough credit for. They're sort of the culture makers. Like they decide what's trending. They decide what's new, what's hot. Like
they'll maintain pop stands.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone sort of takes from it, and they're like, look, I found this new thing, but you didn't find it. You know, it's just it was already there.
Yeah, it was already there. I agree.
So, question, I'm looking at you guys show, and I noticed that you guys were talking about microblog and microblogging. What is the difference to you guys?
Roberto.
Oh, that was I looked
we didn't mention it.
No, we didn't. It didn't make it onto the episode. But I was looking at what Twitter was, and apparently the technical term is microblogging. So it's like essentially that's what it is. You know how like a traditional blog is sort of like a big giant platform and you write out your thoughts. And so the concept of Twitter is that on a much smaller scale, and that's what tweets are. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of like so your Twitter is your personal journal, basically. I mean, it makes sense. You have your thoughts on there for forever.
Yeah.
True. So with TikTok and Gen Z is Generation Z, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel that TikTok gained so much popularity in a matter of not even a year, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think it was their marketing campaign. It was strong, and they put a lot of money into it. It was like commercials everywhere, commercials on YouTube, commercials on regular television, and ads everywhere on all the apps. And I really think that it was the driving force behind TikTok's success.
I agree with that because but I also believe that we are people that get bored very easily, and I knew
Mhm.
that something else was bound to happen. Remember Vine, how that exploded and it's down. What I am impressed is how it seems as though TikTok is standing
Yeah,
on merit, and I really believe that Generation Z is probably the reason why it's so strong, because the reason why Instagram less is because of the millennials.
yeah,
We all all the millennials loved Instagram. We loved Twitter. As a millennial trying to dive into TikTok, I think that it's been uh, a little complicated for me, only because it's so short, and I'm used in my generation to have things a little long. Like we fought for our 15-second Instagram videos to go to a minute, and we fought for IGTV to upload more information. So now that you have TikTok, it's kind of like, okay, well, you need to tell us all of that same shit in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're doing
Content,
it. Generation Z
yeah,
is doing it. I'm like,
yeah.
damn, I just learned
Content is
something.
changing. That's
So
for
do you
sure.
guys think TikTok will be here to stay and it will last on and on? Oh my goodness, the first social media was probably MySpace.
No,
But
it was like
No,
AOL.
AOL.
remember, I
Somebody was
used to
telling
use
me AOL.
AIM.
Oh yeah, I think that was like the first, because I remember being like 12, 13, sneaking on the gay chat lines on the computer.
Oh, so
On
you
the
was bad, bruh.
Yeah.
That's funny. I do think TikTok is gonna last. I really do. I think that there's so much support. Those kids are so young, like, and they're here for it, and that's what that's what social media is. Is like, if you keep making content and you keep interacting with it, then it's gonna stick around.
Yeah, the only way I think it will be knocked out of the water is if the American government does something about it. Because I know that Trump mentioned that he wanted to ban it because it's
Yep.
Chinese run. They obviously are holding our data, but the fact of the reality, there's a lot of programs that we use that are Chinese owned. So you sort of
Dag their everything.
yeah, it's like majority of our imports are from China. So I'm not really sure his concept when it comes to that, but I know that me and Roberto, so Lisa Sabor is definitely going to have to get more involved in the TikTok situation. We're just trying to
Yeah.
that out.
So we're gonna get into you guys in general. So
Okay.
for solely Sabor, I feel like I said it all the way wrong.
No, you said it right.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, y'all don't mind me. Like, I'm really getting used to saying this name. Like, this is very new. So what is next with you guys? How do you guys want to take you guys' platform as a newly podcast? Where do you guys see yourself in 5 years as a podcast?
Well, hopefully in 5 years we get like a contract offer from like Apple or something for $100 million like Joe Rogan did. But until then, I think that's very important for Soul East Sabor to really be involved in the community. For us, it's just not about sitting and recording. We really want to be in the trenches. We really want to be going to these organizations, hearing their voices, hearing what they need, attempting to provide what they need. The other day, we went and donated to the Trans Latina Coalition, which is a new organization that helps trans women really navigate in the city of Los Angeles. And they're a small organization. Most people only know about huge organizations. And when it comes to me and Roberto, we both have a passion to hear the underdogs, man. I feel like we're here to fight for the underdogs.
Yeah, and I think that we definitely, our goal is to sort of tell our stories, our histories, things that are ours and that we should be telling. Like, I'm tired of hearing those same stories from white points of view.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's really important. And I also hope that the podcast is educational in some way, or just sort of opens the door to have the tougher conversations, because it's not, like I keep saying, it's not so black and white, and it's not so right and wrong. It's more about being aware of what your presence here does, what your actions, how they affect others, and it's more about learning that.
Love it. So Soul Sabor.
I wonder where we at time wise. So there is no way for me to tell.
I don't even know.
And I forgot to do the timer.
That's so
I
funny.
did too. It's okay. It's okay. We basically done anyway.
Yo,
Yeah,
Gen Z is like the end of the outline.
Yeah, I think that's it.
definitely in. I was gonna ask like two things, one more thing for you guys as a group.
Okay, and then after that we end.
After that, I'm gonna do it.
The conclusion?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So y'all told me what was next. How do you guys think podcasting would go in the future?
Michelle Obama just signed a deal to do a podcast. I really believe that podcast is the new wave. I don't think that media is visual media is ever going to be knocked off because we're visual people. But I think that podcast is going to be a very, very close second. I really believe that because it's extremely accessible to a lot of people. The editing time is a little shorter than it is when it comes to visual marks. So I love doing it. I enjoy it. I love working with Roberto doing it. And I think that it's really important to have our voices out there.
Yeah, I'm excited for podcasts sort of coming into their own. Like they're already very popular. And I think that the reason is that it creates very sort of niche markets where, you know, if you really love a certain topic, like you can find that subject somewhere and someone will talk about it in depth and with knowledge. And I think that that's what really people are looking for is sort of less entertainment and more personalized content.
Yeah, I think people are opening up more about what they want to be educated on. I think the whole fluff of there's already going to be bad reality TV for entertainment, but I think that people nowadays want to be more educated when it comes to issues.
Which is solely understandable. Well, that is it for today's All Things Cancel Culture. You can catch them on Mondays. They post on IGTV. Am I right?
Well, our podcast is on everything now. We just got approved to be on Apple, so I'm excited about that.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and
Facebook Watch. We have
get into Facebook Watch because I want to try that.
Ooh, a process. So you should be happy that I did it, and I can tell you exactly what to do. But it was. I'm
gonna have to text you.
It was a process, yeah. But I was determined. I was like, no, we're gonna have a Facebook market.
Heck yeah!
So definitely. So yeah, you guys can check out our next episode. We're gonna be talking about healthcare Monday next week. Okay.
And what is you guys' social media?
Solely Sabor. Everything is at Solely Sabor.
At Solely Sabor.
And you guys can catch me on Instagram, Tezzie_on_the_couch. Also, y'all can catch my YouTube channel, Tezzie Baby, to watch Tezzie on the couch. See you guys next time on the after show of Solely Sabor.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
You're either woke or you're not.